Today's video is sponsored by Saley. Oh, this whole thing? I got it at Coachella. Hi, ugly. It's me, Lady Bus, and welcome back to Hot or Rats. And today we'll be reviewing our final episode of the first bracket in the Tournament of All-Stars. Our queens were challenged to give drag family resemblance makeovers to collegiate lady ballers, and then in their duo tasked to write, record, and perform verses on the main stage of Drag Race in the worldwide debut of Shoot Your Shot. 3-pointer, nothing but net. So we'll be going queen by queen to break all that down, plus covering the crumbled alliance triangle between DeJa, Aja, and Olivia Lux. And then at the end of the video, discussing the brand new twist, because y'all wanted a twist day, announced by RuPaul herself at the end of this episode. And now first up, let's check the scoreboard, because we've got an MVQ ceremony to break down. This episode starts off with our bottom four from last week deciding who's to award their MVQ points to. And it's decided that since Aja has the most points, she'll be the first to go. Off the bat, she gives her MVQ to Olivia, then Phoenix gives hers to DeJa Skye. And next up is Olivia Lux, who Aja's definitely thinking is going to be giving her point. However, Olivia instead gives her point to DeJa as well. And finally, it's DeJa's turn, who awards her point to Olivia Lux. Which means we've got not one, but two queens feeling jilted by their cast members for not receiving points, those queens being Phoenix and Aja. And now, concerning Phoenix, I can totally understand why she's feeling wronged, because she's now the only queen with 1 point, which is way behind everybody else. And she was the only queen from the bottom four last week that didn't get a reciprocal point. Aja, on the other hand, left last week's episode with 3 points, and so she was already ahead of 2 of her alliance members, Olivia and DeJa. And I can totally understand why these queens, having not won a challenge, wanted to even the points out amongst themselves. But Aja's taking what happened here very seriously, and she's not having it, at all. And right after the MVQ ceremony, Olivia does go over to Aja to explain herself. They're explaining to Aja that they're all in this together and the points should be evened out. But Aja just kind of laughs at Olivia's explanations and in a confessional refers to Olivia as Olivia the Backstabber Lux. Later in the episode, these two do get a chance to go over what happened, where we hear Aja expressing that she felt lied to because she didn't get Olivia's point, and where Olivia goes on to say that she thought herself, Aja, and DeJa all had a shared goal of getting into the semifinals, and so distributing those points evenly was what made the most sense. However, we know behind the scenes that Aja's been saying in confessionals she's got tiers to her alliance, where she considers Olivia to be platinum and DeJa to be beneath that. However, it's unclear to me whether Aja and Olivia actually discussed these tiers of alliances amongst themselves in the workroom, and so I'm not sure how Aja can totally fault Olivia here for making the choice she did, but here we are. And now first up, in the order they hit the runway, the this is thising and the that is thatting, it's DeJa Skye, who's transformed her lady baller into Sophie Rocious. Get it? So, for Rocious, it's a pretty good drag name. Firstly, let's talk about the mug DeJa stamped onto Sophie's face, which is absolutely gorgeous. And generally speaking, I loved Sophie's attitude throughout the episode because she was so down to just do whatever it took to help DeJa succeed, including shaving her eyebrows before they got into drag. But was there a drag family resemblance beyond the mug? I don't know. What really threw me off was the wig, because I didn't expect DeJa to put her partner in a black wig. Like, when I think of DeJa in drag, I think of really bright, highly saturated colors in her wig. And the black wig with that chartreuse outfit just felt very stark and unlike what we would maybe see DeJa present on the runway. So I'm gonna give these outfits a rot, but I did really like what these two did in the challenge portion with their lyrics. DeJa and Sophie went back and forth with their lines singing, "I'm a diva on the floor, usually, but today I'm a queen, still shooting the threes. On the sidelines, I cheer and scream." And in their performance, you could see how much fun they were having back and forth with these lines, and it felt like they were on a team playing basketball together and also in drag singing. This was hot. And next up, in a galaxy far, far away, it's Irene the Alien, who transforms her lady baller into Estelle the Alien. And y'all, I don't gotta tell you, but these looks are phenomenal. And dare I say, Irene maybe did the best makeover we've ever seen in Drag Race history. But it wasn't just Irene putting in the work. Like, Estelle was clocked in on the runway, and the guest judge was right. When they are both up there, the paint was so identical and the outfits were so flawless that it was difficult sometimes to tell who was the pro drag queen and who was the lady baller. These outfits are giving me Tutu Clown Harlequin from the planet Gottmik. Plus, I really love the bit they were doing with Irene juggling her balls, dropping one, and then having Estelle take one off of her outfit to give to Irene. Sisters helping sisters. Aww. This transformation was a slam dunk hot. In fact, this look is so hot I'm reminded of summer, beaches, pool boys, and how my phone carrier ripped me off on an international data plan the last time I traveled to Mexico. But that'll never happen again because Saylee's here to save the day. Saylee is a new eSIM service app offering data plans in over 180 countries. And Saylee's super affordable. For example, when I went to Mexico, my phone carrier charged me $35 for a 5 GB data plan that only lasted 10 days. But Saylee has data plans for Mexico starting at a fraction of that cost and lasting a lot longer. Plus, Saylee's a prepaid service, meaning you'll never get hit with unexpected overage charges like you might with your carrier. To get started, use my link below to download Saylee to your mobile device. And select your destination, choose the plan that works best for you, and make sure to enter code BussyQueen to get an exclusive 15% discount. Then your data plan will activate automatically when you arrive at your destination, meaning you can travel the world with the freedom of no roaming fees, no waiting in line to get SIM cards at an airport, and no worrying about connecting to shady public Wi-Fis while you're abroad. So what are you waiting for? Download Saylee to your mobile device right now, and make sure to use code BussyQueen to get an exclusive 15% discount on your data plan. Thanks, Saylee, for sponsoring today's video. And in the performance part of this challenge, I like how they too went back and forth with their lyrics, with Estelle singing, "I'm the queen of the court, I'm the MVQ." They're smartly bringing in a component from the larger season into their verse. And then Irene finishes their verse singing, "Give me the ring and the crown, and I'll take the trophy too." They're keeping everything sports and competition related. I love sports. This performance was hot. And next up, it's Bosco, who transforms her Lady Baller into the Goddess, who is a supermodel in training, y'all. She's beautiful, she's 6'7". And I love the chemistry they had together, which we can see on full display during rehearsal, where Bosco's saying a bunch of nonsense, loosely instructing the Goddess on how to do the performance, and then where we later hear the Goddess say in a confessional that Bosco says a bunch of crazy stuff, and it's hard to tease out like what's actually an instruction, but that's also why she loves her. Concerning the Bosco drag family resemblance in these looks, I do see the vamp, the glam, and the on a stick nature of what they're doing here. And Bosco's even got that little eyebrow notch painted into the Goddess's face. And the hair on these two is also gorgeous. I love how Bosco chose to do like a black and white inverse for their wigs so that they were similar in theme and style, but not identical. And the outfits are really pretty. I love all that applique work. They're shiny, they're pretty, they've got a good silhouette. And both queens are very confident on stage. The one thing they didn't do a lot of was having much of a bit during their runway, but I'm gonna give this transformation a hot. In the performance part of this challenge, the Goddess starts off their section singing, "Pretty privilege, I'm better than you. 6'7" and get the shoe. Legs out, waist in, mugs done today. Now bitch, your gag's got nothing to say." And she did gag me a little bit, for sure. I thought Bosco's part of the verse was a little weaker though. She sang, "Strutting in a line, yeah, we call that trapeze. I got these short little bitches wishing for some more peas." But I'm not really sure what she meant by more peas, unless she meant more points? But they weren't really talking about scoring points in the rest of the verse, so I don't understand how that would tie back into what they were saying. But the peas lyric could mean something totally different. I really have no idea, and if y'all do know, let me know down below. And like I said, I had fun with these two, but I do think Bosco's part of the verse was just so fast and also confusing with the lyrics that I left their section with like a question mark over my head. But I'm still gonna give these two a hot. And next up, orange really is the new black. It's Phoenix, who transforms her Lady Baller into Heron. Actually, she's the IRL blood sister of Irene's Lady Baller, Estelle. And so it was fun to see these two interact in the episode because there's a little bit of competitive nature between these two being siblings. And these two also bring that sisterly competitive edge to the main stage in their outfits when they come out in orange jumpsuits that on the back say "Prison Honey." They're referencing the iconic moment where India Farah and Phoenix walk into the season 3 workroom wearing the same wig and almost the same outfit. Prison Honey. The prison jumpsuits do come off though to reveal outfits that are similar to yet elevated versions of the outfits worn originally by Phoenix in India. But let's talk drag family resemblance for a second. The thing is, yes, these two did look similar on stage, but I wasn't getting this overwhelming feeling of like, oh my god, these two have the most drag family resemblance ever, like I was getting with Irene or even Bosco tonight. Another issue for me here was the outfits. I do like that Phoenix chose to reference this iconic drag race moment, but unfortunately all black garments just do not often translate well in this drag race stage lighting, which, like, you know, is not Phoenix's fault. She wouldn't have known how those lights would have looked with the outfits. But I think a better way to do this would have been to come out in the prison jumpsuits, reference the meme, and then take them off to reveal the rebirth of Phoenix, the new version of Phoenix that we've been seeing here on All Stars. And so I'd leave the transformation part of what happened here at a warming up. In the performance part of the challenge, they took turns singing "Birds of a Feather, We Will Flock Together" on the court or on the stage, you know, we run it our way. Looking right, feeling right, and you know this body's tight, which I think were fine lyrics, but I was looking for something a little punchier from these two during their performance, and it just fell a little bit flat for me. And considering these lyrics and performance versus what happened on stage with the other queens tonight, I'm gonna leave it with a soft rat. And next up, looking like $2 million bucks. It's Olivia Lux, who's transformed her Lady Baller into Octavia Lux. And y'all wanna talk beauty? You wanna talk glamour? Oh my God, you wanna talk drag family resemblance? Look no further. I was goofed and gagged when these two turned the corner looking like identical twin sisters. Like Olivia turned this out, and everything they did in the bit of being these sisters who love music was just adorable. First, there was like this shared headphone cord that they used to pull each other around the stage. And then there's the asymmetrical afros that perfectly complement each other when they stand back to back. And I just love how Olivia clearly approached this challenge thinking about what truly makes Olivia, and that was music, her love of music. This drag family resemblance is unclockable. And it's hot. But where these two did even better was in the performance part of this challenge. They had the best lyrics, hands down, boots up, three-pointer on the net, foul alarm screaming in the background, go! For example, they sang lipstick all over the court, shooting in the back door, which is foul and hilarious. Why settle for 2 when you can shoot for 3? Ending with, we always keep you quenched, bitch, go back to your bench. Boom! Like Olivia and Octavia's verse just hit so hard, sounded great, and they looked amazing on stage performing it. This was hot. And lastly, we've got Aja, who transforms her Lady Baller into Teeva. And these two kind of confused me on the runway tonight because they turn the corner and they're in these like fairy Tinkerbell costumes, which I will say are very cute. Like they both look totally adorable. But I'm just not sure like what exactly the Renaissance fairy Tinkerbell costumes say about Aja's drag. And I'm also not sure these costumes were elevated enough for the Drag Race runway. And unfortunately for Teeva, her costume was having a little bit of a malfunction with her wings like falling off as she was on the runway. And y'all, I do believe in fairies, but these makeover looks I've got to give a but in the performance part of this challenge, no surprise, Aja and Teeva absolutely destroy. Where Aja raps, the way I shoot my shot, just call me Steph Curry. I'm married to the game, just like Aisha. Say hello to the winners, hey, nice to meet ya. And where we also see while they're dancing, Aja like throw herself in front of Teeva and drop into a split while she does this rap. What I think was a missed opportunity here though was a chance for Aja and Teeva's verse to be a little more cohesive. I really enjoyed how in some of the other verses we got to hear the queens go back and forth with their makeover partners in their song, which made it feel more like teamwork. But Aja and Teeva had more of a separate experience on that stage. So yes, teamwork maybe would have helped this dream work a little bit better, but I'm gonna give this a which brings us to our placements, which go to our Seattle sisters, Irene and Bosco, which is a repeat of last week's top 2, and the 3rd time that Irene the Alien is in the top 2. She has now won every single challenge in her bracket after, yes, getting eliminated first on season 15. And side note, I know I never talk about mini challenges, but Irene also won both mini challenges the queens were presented with. Like, what is in that Seattle water? And regarding these top 2, Irene, I totally agree with. Like, she gave one of the best makers of all time. This was a total sweep till the other bitches start mopping. However, I feel like Olivia and Octavia Lux were robbed blind here. Because to me, in both the drag family resemblance category and the performance category, they did better than Bosco and everyone else besides Irene. Like rapping about shooting in the back, thirst quench, go back to your bench, that should have got them in the top 2 alone. Plus, Michelle literally uses these two as an example to the rest of the queens while they're giving critiques as to what a drag family resemblance should be. So like, how the hell is Olivia supposed to feel when Michelle does that and then they don't even put her in the top 2? Am I smelling yet another rig? Perhaps. But I also do genuinely just feel bad for Olivia here because there's nothing she could have done to make her transformation better. And I think the only reason she didn't end up in the top was because the producers just didn't have that in their fantasy. I think the judges and producers either wanted Bosco in the semifinals no matter what, so they put her in the top here, or the producers just wanted to see what would happen to the DeJa, Aja, and Olivia alliance on the main stage after not giving any of them a top placement. Or perhaps both things are true. But maybe I'm wrong and too biased towards Olivia's performance. winners? I don't know. I'll hold space for that. Let me know down in the comments below. Was she robbed, or did the judges get the top two right? Irene and Bosco, though, do here secure their place in the semifinals with this win, and they get to lip sync for one more point to Pocketbook. And as I was sat in my reaction video, which is, yes, available on Patreon, and you can watch that reaction using the link below, I was thinking, wow, this could be really tragic if Irene loses her third lip sync in a row despite winning 3 challenges. But she actually really turned this lip sync out. She was more dynamic, brought a lot of comedy, and gave a killer lip sync. Bosco was in this lip sync good and sexy, but there were no tricks and there was no comedy. And I was actually kind of wondering, with like a little thought in the back of my head, if Bosco wasn't throwing the lip sync so that Irene could secure this win. Food for thought. And after our top 2 lip sync, our bottom 4 this week do have one final boss to face, and that is the MVQ ceremony on the main stage, where the queens are instructed to write the name of the queen they want to give their MVQ point to on a little handheld mirror, which they will reveal one at a time. Aja goes first and reveals that she's giving her MVQ points to DeJa Skye, not Olivia Lux, which was probably Aja making a point to Olivia about their failed alliance and how she did indeed feel backstabbed by what Olivia did last week. DeJa's next, and she gives her point to Olivia, who then gives her point to Aja, which means at this point, Aja, Olivia, and DeJa are all tied with 4 points, and Phoenix must break the tie. Who, drumroll please, gives her point to Aja, then cementing Aja's spot in the semifinals alongside Bosco and Irene. And I found this whole sequence of events to be very interesting, we'll say, because we've got the 3 queens in the Crumbling alliance here pitted against each other, trying to get into the semifinals, and I feel like the producers just kind of wanted to watch the world burn and like see if they would honor their alliance or put themselves first or do something crazy and give it to Phoenix. I also found this interesting because earlier in this same episode, Phoenix said to these queens, y'all are gonna need my point to get to the semifinals. They're kind of implying that they better treat her right. But like, how did Phoenix know that she was gonna have to give her point to one of these queens for them to get to the semifinals? Things to think about. But anyways, conspiracy or not, we've got Aja, Bosco, and Irene progressing to the semifinals, and even though I think Olivia should have been in this top 2, which probably would have progressed her to the semifinals, I am happy with the 3 queens that we've got from this bracket moving on, because they are, after all, the only 3 queens who won challenges of these 6. And while I'm kind of leaving this episode wondering if any of this alliance stuff was ever real in the first place, or just some big producers producing shenanigans, I guess I will say it was at least good TV. But guess what, Mimi? There's one more twist, because y'all wanted a mother tucking twist, eh? And RuPaul announces to the cast of queens that once the semifinals begin, one of the eliminated queens from the 3 brackets will have the chance to re-enter the competition. Where Ru then explains that each of the main judges will select an eliminated queen to be entered into a wild card lottery, where they will then be randomly selected to enter the lip sync smackdown for the crown. I got it! All the buzzwords and made up terminology of Drag Race. Boom. As I was hearing Ru say this, I was like, okay. Like, nothing would surprise me at this point with the way they've rigged this competition throughout the years, or just done things that are overtly heavy-handed in production. But it would be pretty crazy if one of the eliminated queens in the finale does end up snatching the crown. Even though statistically it wouldn't be very likely, it could still be possible. And it did kind of make me wish that instead of doing that, they did like a loser's bracket of all the eliminated queens from the 3. And they could have given out 2 prizes and 2 titles and gotten more queens in more episodes, like they did with the She Done Already Had Hers's bracket and the Fame Games situation thing that happened. Considering my final thoughts, though, this episode was top tier Drag Race. All the queens honestly did well, either in the transformation or in the performance of what they did. And part of what made this episode so special was, of course, the guests that they were transforming. These lady ballers were so much fun. They were competitive because they're, of course, sports girlies. And they were also just like down to do whatever the queens wanted to help them succeed. And I will also say, although I was really hesitant of this tournament bracket situation when the season was announced, I am really loving everything that's happened so far, and I'm super stoked for the next 2 brackets. Lastly, let's talk hottest hots. For just the look and aesthetics of Drag Family Resemblance Transformation, I'm gonna give it to Irene and Estelle the Alien. But in the performance aspect of what the queens were asked to do, I'm gonna give it to Olivia and Octavia Lux. I also asked my patrons to vote on their hottest hots, and this week they've chosen Irene the Alien for runway and performance. And I wanna give one more huge thanks to the sponsor of today's video, Saley, a new eSIM service app providing data plans in over 180 countries. Make sure to download Saley using my link below right now, and make sure to enter code BussyQueen at checkout to get 15% off your plan. And I also want to give a special shout out to Ashton, Felicia, JBR, Lara, Matthew Burns, Mikal, Minst, and Will and Tanner, who are all supporting me at the Bussy Queen Collector tier at patreon.com/BussyQueen. See y'all later. Love ya. Bye.